Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carole Baskin from Big Cat Rescue, and I was going to try to stream this live to Twitch using Restream.io. But it looks like I have to pay for a subscription to do that, and I don't think that's worth it. Not yet, anyway. In big cat news around the world, I've been gone for a couple of weeks, so there's a lot of news backing up, I bet. This one is being part of the conservation solution. It was in Travel Weekly. I'm sure what that's talking about is not paying to pet cubs. Yeah, because all of these media outlets are finally getting it, and they are finally saying that petting cubs is bad. It's causing so much suffering, and it's causing the extinction of the tiger in the wild. And it's such a wonderful time to be alive that the media has finally figured this out. We only had to scream about it for like 30 years. And here's another good one. Pakistani influencer sparks anger for using lion as a party prop. Each one of these are at bigcatrescue.org/news. You can just click on the image and it'll take you right to that article. Tiger Queen Carole Baskin is on the prowl for GOP votes. Yeah, that was one of my trips. Just got back from Washington, D.C. Judge rules for prosecution in the Antle cruelty case. This is such a good one. This is interesting that like all of this, our news thing usually just has like a link to it. It doesn't have all of this text, but there's a lot. And so on this one, I want to read it to you because I think everybody needs to know about this. Efforts to disqualify the lead prosecutor in an animal cruelty and endangered species trafficking case involving a South Carolina celebrity animal trainer and a local roadside zoo owner failed on Thursday. During a hearing in Frederick's County Circuit Court, trainer Bhagavan Kevin Doc Antle, his lawyer, accused K. Michelle Welch, Senior Virginia Assistant Attorney General and Director of the Attorney General's Animal Law Unit, of bias, unethical dealings with animal welfare groups, and botching a search of the Myrtle Beach Safari, which is Antle's South Carolina Animal Park. In October, Antle, featured in the Netflix Tiger King documentary on a eccentric animal breeder in a murder-for-hire plot, was accused of multiple counts of cruelty to animals and buying or selling endangered species. He is accused of buying newborn lion cubs from Keith Arnold Wilson, owner of Wilson's Wild Animal Park in Frederick County. Antle's two daughters and Wilson are also indicted. The charges against Wilson are in addition to animal cruelty charges he faces over the treatment of animals at his zoo. The zoo closed in August of 2019 after a raid by authorities in which 119 animals were seized. Conditions documented on video included animals with severe skin problems due to inattention and animals without proper food or water or space to move. Authorities also said they found maggot-infested meat, 2 dead animals in the freezer, areas filled with feces, and animals left without water. Wilson denies any wrongdoing. Antle's attorney, Eric R. Breslin and Aaron M. Harrigan, told Judge Alexander R. Iden that Welch, having served on the board of the Virginia Animal Fighting Task Force, a nonprofit group that assists law enforcement on raids and searches, has a conflict of interest. They said it was improper for Amy Taylor, a task force member, to participate in the search of Wilson's Wild Animal Park in December of 2019. Harrigan compared it to allowing a Mothers Against Drunk Driving activist to conduct a field sobriety test of a driver in a traffic stop. Welch countered that there is a long legal history of citizens assisting police at searches dating back to the English common law, when burglary victims were permitted at scenes to identify stolen items. Following up on a written motion that said Welch had compromised the investigation by blurring the lines between animal activist volunteers and duly credentialed law enforcement officers, Breslin said Antle couldn't get a fair trial with Welch prosecuting him. Breslin said Welch had conflated her personal and professional positions. That is a very dangerous line to cross, he said. The degree of involvement by private advocacy groups is disturbing, and it is unusual. Yeah, it's unusual that finally the public is siding with protecting animals instead of abusing them. Thank God. That wasn't in the article, that was my commentary. Welch said that the Attorney General's office does receive grant money from the Animal Legal Defense Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, but they don't control our office. Welch also opposed having potential witnesses at the trial testify at the hearing. She said it could prematurely disclose the prosecution's strategy and endanger the witnesses. Welch said Taylor has been subjected to online harassment, and Welch said she has been personally subjected to a death threat, which she notified the FBI and Virginia State Police about. After telling Iden that her salary is paid by taxpayers, not by any animal welfare groups, Iden denied the motion to disqualify Welch. He also denied a motion for separate trials for Antle, his daughters Tawny Antle and Tillicum Watterson, and Wilson. However, Iden ruled that the prosecution must provide written information dealing what they define as animal cruelty and torture in the cases of Antle and his daughters. The Antle case centers on the illegal transportation of two 14-day-old lion cubs from Wilson Zoo to Antle's Park, according to court documents. They say Tawny Antle drove the cubs to Myrtle Beach on July 26, 2019, shortly before the August 15, 2019 raid at Wilson Zoo. The documents say records seized at the zoo show the birth dates of the cubs were altered to say that they were born on June 28, 2019, rather than the actual birth date of July 12, 2019. The documents say Tawny Antle received a third cub from Wilson, and the documents say Tawny Antle received a third cub from Wilson that was 25 days old on August 6, 2019, and that Wilson intentionally kept secret the existence of the cub from a government inspector, because the government inspectors don't go in their houses, which is where they keep the cubs. That's where all the evidence is. The documents also said Wilson sent 3 cubs to Bhagavan Antle in 2017 while failing to list them in his license renewal with the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. Wilson is also accused of failing to list the existence of 2 cubs sent to the elder Antle in 2018. Through inquiry, I found that neither Antle nor Wilson currently hold or have ever held a permit for the captive breeding of endangered species, a law enforcement officer wrote in the documents. Lions have been on the endangered threatened species list since 2016. Yeah. Another article, mountain lion cub found orphan, released back into Orange County after 4 months of rehabilitation. So apparently this was like a 2-month-old cub that had come in along with a sibling that had a broken leg who's still in recovery for that broken leg. But this one, when it was 6 months old, they decided to release the cat and they collared it. So I'll be really curious to see how this cat does. That means that it was there at a time when it would have been off the bottle, so you wouldn't have that kind of imprinting. But I just don't know. It was being kept at like a humane society shelter kind of thing. And I can't imagine that they had any kind of outdoor hunting runs or anything to train these animals how to hunt or how to survive on their own. So I'm glad that they did collar the cat to see whether or not the cat can survive even in what was probably not the best rehab facilities. Talk show regulars' license denial may spell the end of late-night segments with wild animals. Yeah, this is really exciting. So I just came back from D.C. In fact, this is the name of the other article here, D.C. premiere, a film that exposes dangers of big cat ownership in the U.S. That was to show the premiere of the conservation game in D.C. to a invitation-only event where it was mostly legislators and their aides and also people that are in the media there. And so we got a ton of press out of that, like CNN and The Hill and Politico and The Daily Beast. Lots of really good coverage and local coverage as well. But anyway, what people will see in that film is that there's a lot of these same players involved, but one of them is named Grant Kimmerer, and he has been the person who provides the cubs to Jack Hanna, and then Jack Hanna would be on TV talking about how these animals came from a zoo and they're going to a zoo or they're going to a lovely sanctuary, and you find out the truth and you're just going to pull your hair out. You are not going to believe what you see in the conservation game, but it's true. And this guy was one of the guys doing that all the time, providing those cubs, and the conditions where these cats were kept is just wretched. And so, in my opinion anyway, I mean, you look at that and you think, how on earth could Jack Hanna have been involved with that? But he lost his license. Yes. Yay. Finally. And he lost it for like a 2-year period. So hopefully during this 2-year period, we can do away with all of this crap that abuses these poor cubs, and he will have to find some kind of like real job. Another one here, Pari, differently abled man mauled to death by leopard in Uttarakhand. So this would be a leopard in the wild, I'm assuming, and sometimes the translations are not so good. Mountain lion sightings on the rise in the peninsula, and that's in the Bay Area, so it must be California. After mysterious tiger deaths, MP Forest Department to collect blood, swab samples of big cats. That was in the India news. Tiger was found dead in the Corbett Tiger Reserve in Dela Range. Maharashtra, tiger kills 70-year-old shepherd in Chandrapur, and that's in the Nagpur News Times of India. Tragedy of the White Tiger. Scientific American is the essential guide to the most awe-inspiring advances in science and technology, explaining how they change our understanding of the world and shape our lives. So, very nice to finally see Scientific American, what would you say, walk back on the rather stupid article that was out there several years ago. And the one that they were talking about, I'm talking about from several years ago, was saying that there was no difference between how inbred white tigers and golden tigers were, but what people didn't understand is they were talking about from the same litter. And of course, if you've got kittens in the same litter, or cubs that are in the same litter, it doesn't matter what color they are equally inbred, but they were not clear on that point. And the bad guys have used that for years and years and years to say, look, white tigers aren't any more inbred than golden tigers. And it was only true in that particular instance, but it looks like they have finally come out on the right side of things now. So I'm going to read that one when I get off of here. The DOJ filing Lowe continued noncompliance. So this was dated June the 18th, 2021. And the DOJ filed a motion stating that Jeff Lowe is still in noncompliance in the court case. The animals still do not have a veterinarian. He's still hiding animals that are not being shown up on any of the accountings that he's given the prosecutors in this case, and he's just not complying with anything with a lot of the things that were in the court order, maybe with anything that was in the court order, I'm not sure. So they have asked the judge to rule on that, and what they have asked for is to say, look, we'll not go after him personally if he'll just give up these animals to legitimate sanctuaries and not own animals again. But so far, he's just chosen to ignore it because our legal system moves ridiculously slowly, and I would imagine he could make some more money off of those animals and some of the things that they're doing in the meanwhile, which is sad. Stress among animals over swabs. Some still wait for lioness Neela to return. Well, that's pretty amazing. I see in this article in I'll get it right in a minute, the Indian Express, that they're doing a nose swab on a lion. I can't believe this lion is putting up with that. Another story here called Bonds of the Big Cat's Barra, talking about for 150 years, leopards and people of Barra have lived in harmony. Disco Girl came out, the music video. So this was fun. Iris May reached out to me with her new single, Disco Girl, and I loved the beat. It was so catchy. It sounded so good. She's a great singer, and it was I like the context of the video of the music, where it's talking, or it's kind of expressing this idea of freeing the tiger and unleashing the tiger. And so she wanted to do a music video where I walk a tiger on a leash into a studio full of people dancing, and the tiger breaks free of the leash and becomes his own person, her own person. And we did it through CGI, so no real tigers were used in this. And the CGI was more like animated GIFs than true, like what you would see in Army of the Dead, where they did the whole big, multi-million-dollar thing off of Sapphire the White Tiger. But it was cleverly done, I thought, and the music is very catchy. And the whole idea is that these are wild animals, that they can't be tamed, that they should always be set free. And then she had one stanza in there, and so she did the music video. And it's been just taking off everywhere. She came into Clubhouse and said that it's playing in their, like local radio channels and at the clubs that she goes to, which is great. And she's gotten over 4,000 views on her YouTube channel, and I don't even know how much on her regular music channels like Spotify and those things. But then she wanted to do a remix where I actually sang one of the stanzas. And so in that one, it was just the cover art and then the sound. And so I thought, that was kind of boring for somebody to sit there and watch the cover art for 3 minutes while the song played. So I took the video clips I had sent her of me dancing in front of a green screen and just acting like a crazy person, and used that as an overlay. And so both of those are now out on YouTube. And so you can find this one here. You can click on the real music video at bigcatrescue.org/news. Single Vision, that's Carole Bovard. He's in Florida, was cited by the feds again. 8 animals were found dead since the last inspection. And in most of these cases, these were younger animals, so that's a real problem. Carole Baskin is coming to North Carolina. That's old news because I'm back from North Carolina. I went there to help Shizzy raise some money for the Shizzy's Wildcat Sanctuary that he's been working on for the last 8 years. Tiger cub killed after being hit by a vehicle while crossing the highway in MP Umaria. That's sad. Tiger Creek Animal Sanctuary has ties to the Tiger King players. No surprise there. Second lion dies due to coronavirus infection at Tamil Nadu Zoo. Yeah, this is why we are not open to the public here. Is this giving me new stuff? Siberian tiger kills employee and another tiger at Gilberta Predator Park. And I think I have read the rest of these to you guys already. So how about we go over to our most recent, because I've missed a bunch of them and I apologize for that. But this is our most recent coordinator report, where the coordinators report on what people did that day. So this is from 14 hours ago. It was from Angie Gabor, who says, today was great. Hot, but great. We had another awesome full house. We had Rich and Lauren handing out AM supplements and meds. Every cat did great. Then we had great feeders that took care of our eagerly awaiting cats. Amanda, Kristen, Nikki, and Melissa and I tackled feeding the little cats. Most of them were very ready for us and waiting patiently in lockout. Rich and Sarah were the big cat feeding dynamic duo. They fed all the big cats. Whew, that's a lot. After feeding out, yeah, maybe where the comma goes in this is important. After feeding out awesome interns, Ryan and Megan accompanied Jeff, finished cleaning the front 2 bubbles of Alithia, the serval's enclosure. All the while, my little cleaners, Nikki, Johnny, Bree, and Melissa, made the little cat enclosures sparkling clean. For big cat cleaning, we had trios. Rich, Sarah, and Matt took care of lakeside bigs, and Kristen, Amanda, and I took care of interior bigs. It was fun to be stalked by both Manny and Beecher. They were great supervisors. After lunch, Bree, Melissa, Kristen, and Amanda took care of food prep. Rich filled up some potholes. Melissa handed out little cats' bloodsickles with Bree. Bree is a name, not with the cheese. Ryan and Megan started clearing out the 2 bubbles of Diablo, the Savannah cat's enclosure closest to Des Serval. They removed a really big branch that fell on the roof, along with a ton of smaller branches from that same roof. The lightning this afternoon detoured the completion, but it can easily be finished tomorrow. To close out today, we had Rich doing PM supplements and Dylan doing PM meds. Amanda and Kristen went out on a stick run and then helped Ryan and Megan complete the afternoon chores. Thank you, awesome Saturday crew. And they have some great pictures here. Whew. Yeah, this is why I should do this every day and not like once every 2 weeks. You can stay up to date with everything that's happening at Big Cat Rescue at bigcatrescue.org. You can join us on Clubhouse every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be there live talking with anybody who wants to come up on the stage and talk with me and Deb and Lawana and Karen and so many other wonderful people who you guys all know from our Facebook channels. And then something new with making the call of the wild. So we need everybody to reach out to their member of Congress and ask them to support the Big Cat Public Safety Act. And I'm willing to even pay you to do it. Yeah, so it's just a little reward, but I hope that you will do it, even just do it for the right reasons, which is we need to save the tiger. But if you make the call of the wild, there is a thank you email that you get, and in that will be a link to a way that you can get some cat coin. You may have heard that I created a cat coin over at rally.io, and for everybody who gets that thank you message, there is an opportunity there to collect your portion of a cat coin. And all you have to do is set up a free account at rally.io after making the call of the wild and getting the access to that link. And then what you can do with Catcoin, you can keep it, which is great because it shows that you support Big Cat Rescue, and it puts you in a list of people that I know support Big Cat Rescue. You can spend it. If you get enough of them, you can actually spend them for things in our gift shop, like 10% off or 20% off based on how many of the coins you have. And there's a lot of other things that we're working on right now to have like a membership site of Big Cat Rescue that's only for people who are coin holders. And Isabel has done a really great job of building that. We're just trying to figure out some kind of an automatic gate system, because right now we'd have to do it individually, which I could see that becoming a nightmare really fast. So we're trying to figure out a way to automate that system, make it easy for everybody to get in. So it's, even though she's almost got it done, it's not being used yet until we figure out a way to get people into it in a really quick and easy automated way. So there's so many things going on. Again, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope that you will share this and tell your friends about Big Cat Rescue and get them to make the call of the wild at bigcatact.com.